Okay, let's get started with our next episode of the Curious Case of Finland. So this time we're gonna focus on approximately the 50s, 60s, 70s, so post-war period and the period in which my dad was alive. He was born in it was 50 around 57, Dad.
Yeah, 57.
Yeah, so a lot to talk about here about the attitude toward the Soviet Union and the attitude toward soldiers, toward war veterans in Finland in these years, and how that all changed as time went on, and sort of the tightrope that Finland was walking in these years, trying to balance good relations with the West, the United States and the rest of Europe, the sort of Western industrialized nations, and at the same time trying to keep some kind of a friendly relationship with the Soviet Union on the other side. And so I was wondering if, Dad, we could start with just this notion of, we've been talking a lot about this class conflict between left and right, between working class and owning class. And I know that affected you a lot in your childhood, and I wonder if you could just tell us a bit about how that was.
It sure did. It sure did affect me a lot because for some, the capital and ownership, and then versus working conditions, working 8 hours, 9 hours a day for salary and making a living, that divided the whole society in every single sense. Like, not only the worker, the factory worker, like my dad was a metal worker, very skilled metal worker, and my mom was a textile industry worker. So not only, but it got through the whole society, like me. I was a kid and I was in school, and from 11 or 12 I was in high school, and so it penetrated the whole society, like the political world, so to speak. Like, there was this, of course I didn't understand it by then, and of course now I didn't understand it, and it's like I didn't see that but like, I think that the Marxism-Leninism is, as a communistic idea, one of the cornerstones is that everything is political. Every single thing in the world is political. When you pee, it's political. When you go to school, it's political. Everything is somehow linked with politics. And this, to be first, it's a super dangerous idea, because I think politics is something for grown-ups. Kids are not supposed to live in divided world and hatred and love and accept, deny. Kids are not supposed to live and grow up in that kind of. But the communism infiltrated also that one. So we had this called Teen League, which covered kids, cars. The 12-year-old kid is a kid. He's not a small adult, but 12-year-old kids. It was like it started there. So Teen League, and Teen League has. You have to be, if you are some kind of social being, you have to be a member of Teen League, and Teen League was by far red. It was actually founded by communists, and it was a kind of mini model of Soviet Union. What was that? I don't know, like some kind of thing, but it used. It was teen communists, something like that, young communists movement. It was more like an open. In Soviet Union it was an honor to be communist, but in Finnish version, this Teen League, behind the name Teen League, they hit the real agenda, which was socialism, communism. And so, but also they were pretty successful in making it as a kind of part of crowing, so that if you are not a member of Teen League, who are you? You are not a member of Finnish Team League, so are you still a kid? Why don't you say who you are? You are an individual, you are young, but you are still a kind of, they didn't say it, but adult. You have a purpose, your word counts, your opinion counts, and so far and so forth. It was like effectively blurred the line between an adult and a kid, so that some kind of honesty was lost, because 12-year-old or 13-year-old and 14-year-old, they are kids. Yeah. Why you so say they cannot be open and strict about that? So, but that was we were told that we are actually adults. We are just young adults because we are members of Teen League.
So what exactly did the Teen League do?
This politicized the divider, politicized the whole being and living, and explain. They didn't do yet political education, like they didn't have classes or something like that about communism, but they effectively divided by their news. They had an own newspaper. They effectively divided young kids, like early teenagers, with that, oh, you are the red kid and you are the white kid. So the whole division was so. I think it was done like some. We were all aware about that. Everything was political, and so we kids, we were. White kids didn't like us red kids, and red kids didn't like white kids, and the whole friendships and the whole circle. I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy because he's bourgeois. His dad is bourgeois. His dad is the CEO. I can't deal with that guy. That guy is an asshole. And the other hand, his dad is a miner. I like that guy. I can't be a buddy with that guy. Yeah. Everything was divided, and it was the Teen League did it in a way, somehow kind of sneaky way. It just was. It was like automatic that we felt. Every single kid felt that. The Teen League and Teen League created the atmosphere, created the feeling and all that shit.
So I'm having a bit of a hard time imagining how this thing worked. Who was leading the Teen League? Were they at schools recruiting people? Was it older adults that were some kind of political leaders that were running this thing? Or?
I think the Teen League leadership was. They were guys by far out of teenage. They were kind of the. No, I only knew a few of them, but and in my hometown, and so home city and Tampere. But I think the rest of them they were like guys in 20 to 25. They were kind of political. Then later on there was a name for them, political broilers. So that they were kind of like chickens. They were never raised to do work. They were raised to be politicians and political broilers. And I think they were. I remember only 3 of them, but they were all politicians' kids. And there's a good chance to. I think there's a very likely chance to hit it right if you say that they were politicians' kids. Politicians, newspaper editors, like from red papers, and on the other side, of course, from white papers. And so I think it was somehow politically linked group of people whose kids were in the early 20s, and they organized and made the whole freaking teen league.
Right. So what did that mean? Did you have meetings? Did you have like a clubhouse? Did you something
No,
like that?
it was basically what tied us up was some rock concerts. There were very few, but there were some. And then the newspaper. We didn't have Teen League wasn't a like then I was a member of a socialistic news movement when I was 13, 14. That was clearly a political organization. But the Teen League tried to hide the socialistic education part of it, but still it was that. I think teen leagues, at the most, they organized some concerts and some like. One thing was also what they used as a kind of camouflage was peace movement. They organized peace marches and stuff like that, and peace spring festivals, and so somehow they hijacked even so noble idea as peace, and they for some reason they hid behind the peace movement, but they were really peace movement was 80%, 90% communist socialist propaganda. And then they, of course, at the same time when they did that, they also did the thing that whites are actually war people. Yeah. They want war and they are killers and they are bad and they are killers. They want to kill everybody. And we are peace-loving people. We want to save everybody. Because peace movement at the time, now peace movement is okay and peace movement is balanced, and because that kind of super sharp division is gone. But in 60s, 70s, peace movement was hijacked by socialists and communists. And teen league was kind of in the sidelines, but anyway, so I don't want to be too lengthy about that, but it was like whole life was like filtered by politics. I mean, it was ridiculous in today's measure, but and that was us also, and fortunately it didn't last long. So in my age, like I started to see the bullshit through the lines, between the lines, around my 20s, 21, 22. But definitely, I was into it, and that was because the good people, and one thing, good and intelligent people are communists and socialists, and dumb and greedy people are whites. But it was funny, but we really felt that like that. Like I was dating a lovely woman when I was in my late teens, and now my wife.
And my mom.
Yeah, and your mom. But and so we were living in that, and then, funny enough, my wife is a twin, so her twin partner, who's also a lovely lady, but her twin partner was dating then later on, her husband was dating a pure white bourgeois person who was openly bourgeois, openly United States, openly white, and against, of course, left-wing thing. Yeah. And that made this now when you think of it, it was kind of funny assembly or kind of the setup was. But then I didn't like it. I really kind of it was unpleasant at the least. But then of course when time goes, then you start to learn new things and realities started to come together and the more and more so Soviet Union and Eastern Germany, DDR, they had more in years and years and years. They had more and more problems to hide the thing that what is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I know that in Finland there was a pretty rosy view for quite a long time of what was going on in the Soviet Union, and that in part this was because of an actual formal agreement between Finland and the Soviet Union.
And the thing in that is that Finland, we didn't know it, and we didn't kind of see it, and we didn't kind of sense and think about that, because we were living inside the country, the second biggest town, second biggest city in Finland, Tampere, which was a heavily working class town. We didn't see it, but Finland had a very, very unique position, actually. We were the only freaking country in Europe who kept their free market economy, and we were the only one who had this special agreement with Soviet Union.
Yeah, wasn't Finland the only Western country that was doing trade at all with the Soviet Union?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, that's such a unique position to be in.
Lots of high tech. And so far it was traded between, and high-tech companies used Finland as a gateway. Because Finland was not a member of NATO, Finland has a special agreement with Soviet Union, so we were kind of able to actually
mediate
the high-tech stuff into USSR, and because we had that unique agreement, because and one very important thing is the Soviet Union's money, ruble, wasn't tradable currency. So it was like if you have a bunch of rubles, it was the value of that when you came back to Western countries, the value of ruble was same as toilet paper.
Yeah.
It had no value at all. It's not a tradable currency. So
probably not very soft either.
And one thing also that what we got, we didn't get money from whatever we traded with Soviet Union. We didn't get money, but we got oil, and that's a funny thing. Finland, who has no oil at all, not a drop, as far as I know, in our any under our ocean and under our seas and under our earth, we don't have. But Finland was pretty big oil exporter.
Yeah.
Because we got most of the payment we got in oil from Soviet Union, and rail cars of thousands of rail cars of oil. Sometimes we got the odd things like caviar, like 50 trainloads of caviar or something kind of funny. They didn't always. I don't know. They didn't. I think they had, but for some reason But 90% of our foreign trade with USSR was traded with oil, and then we had a special government agency, who's like I was working for a relatively small firm, 40 people or something, and but we got the oil went to. We had just paperwork. It was a bunch of paperwork. The agency, the government agency, took the oil and sold it in the world market, and the companies, like I was selling like industrial cameras and industrial video and measurement equipment and stuff like that. But we got cash. We got cash. So that agency then changed the invoice what we were sending to Soviet Union. We sent it to this government agency, and the government agency paid it with real money, real Western money.
Yeah.
So it was, and then they took care of the oil and stuff transfer. Of course, we got Russian cars like Ladas and Moscovices and sometimes, yes, I told already, sometimes caviar, rainbows of caviar. It was like a funny time that they traded what they had, and luckily enough, it was most of it, 90% of it was oil, which is oil basically is the same as money in the world market. You get the world market price for oil, and that's it.
So I want to come back to this question of what the perception of communist countries, of the Soviet Union and East Germany and these places was like in Finland in the sort of 50s, 60s, 70s. I know that there was this formal agreement set up by Finland and the Soviet Union called, in Finnish it's called the YYA, which stands for ystävyys, yhteistyö ja avunanto, which is friendship, working together, helping each other agreement. I think in English people call this the Finno-Soviet treaty or something like that, which is much less descriptive. But anyway, part of this treaty, I don't know how formal this was, but there was a sense, a kind of a culture, a norm of speaking very sort of fondly of the Soviet Union and, self-censoring, and not criticizing the Soviet Union essentially. But eventually the kind of veil came away, and we realized what this place was. And can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, from Russian point of view, USSR point of view, the main and the corner thing of the whole agreement, and was that nobody uses, that Finland has to keep a noticeable working operational military so that they can prevent anybody using our land or sea areas to attack USSR.
Right.
That was like the whole purpose for USSR with that agreement was, of course, there were commercial interests also, but the main thing, the big thing, was to kind of have a safe barrier between the West and them, so that nobody is coming through Finland to attack USSR, and that was the main thing. So I think in some way, this is of course hindsight and such, but I think Finland somehow treated that the whole thing. I think Russians like in a top level. I think that was the only thing what they wanted to do. They just wanted to be sure that nobody is attacking from that flank. That's it. But what it did, I don't know. Okay, it was this way or that way. I think there was then some kind of administration level in USSR interpreted this kind of also over that Finland doesn't, even the atmosphere in Finland is not allowed to kind of be anyway unfriendly to USSR, and that's why. And that was then again came over the border, and then the politicians and the administration up to a president, they kind of live with the fact that we don't even act with unfriendly words or unfriendly lines, and it infiltrated the whole society. and the self-censorship became pretty much prevailing idea and major rule the whole media machine. That okay, but no, don't say it. Soon you're gonna get a call from security police if you should do anything. So better that you don't say anything.
Yeah.
And they said so. Then well, yeah, absolutely. We didn't kind of in that way. We didn't kind of know how far, what kind of language, what kind of words, what kind of we can use so that the big bear will not get angry. So and our media machine, of course, kind of play it safe. Played it safe so that now, okay, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the guerrilla like like political guerrilla movement, guerrilla killing squads. What there was during the war between Soviet Union and Finland. There were Russian killing squad. Were wandering. They were guerrillas, yes, nobody knew about them, nobody kind of saw them, but they were wandering the border areas of Finland and attacking civilians and killing them all, every single one. And that is a fact. Now after the war, everything was found, the proof of this was found, but you cannot talk about it because you don't wanna. The main reason was you don't talk about it because the big bear may become angry.
Yeah. I'm sure people didn't talk about the work camps in Siberia very much either, or the I don't know I think you had a very again rose-colored, very utopian view of what was going on there in terms of the quote-unquote equality. Everybody giving what they can and only taking as much as they need and doing it all for the good of their fellow men and women without any drive toward greed and self advancement and all these corrupt.
And then our domestic politics, of course, the west wing like left wing parties. Of course, they got pretty good results in elections.
Yeah,
they were a major party, both of them, like the Communist Party and the Social Democratic Party. But of course, they benefited from this fact that there was lots of people who still kind of believed that there is a paradise on the other side of the border, and everything is fine. And
I mean in the context of Finland, there's a lot of positive development out of this. The fact that the left-leaning parties, not the radical left necessarily, but the Social Democrat Party in Finland was doing so well. This led to all kinds of things that we are extremely proud of now in Finland. The social supports and the workers' unions and all of this stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah, sure. It's like, but then it happened in Finland faster and so like free education, free healthcare, and all that kind of thing, of course. But that was Social Democrats.
Yeah, that wasn't the Communist Party. That was.
But then when USSR went into bankruptcy in 1999, 1991 actually. Yeah. Sorry, I mixed the dates. Then of course everything kind of fell open, and then, but the development had already begun in 1980s. There was kind of, people started less and less to believe the USSR media and DDR, Eastern Germany media, and so there was serious concerns that might be that they have lied to us all the time.
Okay. So I want to get a kind of snapshot here of what it was like for, let's say, you and Mom and your friends when you were still pretty young and you still had this veil over your eyes about what the Soviet Union was like. Like when you were 18 years old in, what is that, 1974, 1975. What did you think of the Soviet Union?
We somehow thought that it's a white political bullshit that they say that they, what they say about living and life standard in USSR and so on, and we are right and we are smart. They are dumb. That's the problem with white people. They are dumb. How can they help it? Because they believe everything what the US says. And so we were, and we had, we had summer, they were big things. Like they were like sometimes there was like 12,000, 15,000 of us in a meeting, like summer conference and winter conference, and we traveled sometimes hundreds of kilometers to another city, and then there was a big congregation of us wrecked people, and the kind of, even the stupidest thing was that even the Reds were divided. There were blue shirts and red shirts. Red shirts were kind of normal communists, and blue shirts were kind of, we were students and something. We were a little bit better than those red shirts. We were more civilized.
So you were a blue shirt?
I was a blue shirt. Mom was a red shirt.
Oh yeah.
And we were kind of extreme. We were like, well, so we believed. We were kind of hardliners. And then the white folks, they christened us as Stalinists. And those are the blue shirts. They are the Stalinists. Of course, we didn't like it because everybody knew what Stalin was.
Okay, you knew that much.
Oh, it was because in early 60s, the Stalin died in 50s, and then 58, 59 or whatever was this Nikita Khrushchev, who came the head of the Soviet Union, and he was judging blatantly, and he was pretty truthful what Stalin was. And Stalin was a pure dictator and an awfully evil man, and killed a lot of people. And he was totally open and public about that, and so Stalin was in anything 1959 and after, it was well known who Stalin was. That he was same type of guy than Hitler, and just killing, and afraid of everybody. Just didn't trust anybody, and still with dictatorial powers. And
right. Okay, yeah. But in this time, let's say you're kind of 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And what did you think of the living conditions in the Soviet Union? Did you envy the kind of working person in Soviet Union? Do you think they had the equality that they had all hoped for?
Yeah, First we believed it when we were 15, 16, but then I think I would say that after 17 and there, we hoped, we started to kind of suspect about the thing, because so many people told the same thing. So
told what?
Told the real living conditions, and so that they sure there is life as such, like food and shelter. That costs practically nothing, or very little, so that everybody has basic food. But anything beyond that was very difficult to get, and practically no private people didn't have cars. 5% had cars, but that was usually the car ownership went with the political achievement, so that you were a hero of the communist.
Yeah, you had to
regime.
apply, and then
you had to have
it would
those.
take many years. If
You had to
ever,
have the medal in your shirt, so that you are a hero of the nation,
right.
and all kinds of things. Yeah, that it was true that the active people active in Communist Party and all the things what Communist Party's responsibilities were. They had like a car. They had easier. They got a car easier than a normal person.
So you started to realize what was really up when you were.
How did they called them like? I remember. Labor heroes. Yes, that was the name. Yeah, labor heroes. They were labor heroes, and they had the real medal piece in the like a medallion. They had it, and so. But then, of course, increasingly it started to kind of wear down. The mask was starting to wear down because of purely economic reasons, because they couldn't hide it anymore that they are burning all their money in military machine. Right. And no country there is no country who can withstand like 28%, 29% of the GDP is going to military.
Yeah, especially when you're running a relatively inefficient economy with a centralized bureaucratic price-setting system and all this. Well, not relying on all the huge advantages of a free market to just economic, efficiency and productivity and wealth generation and incentivizing innovation and cost efficiency in products. Getting someone's is a bit of an aside, but people are very motivated to reduce the cost of their products and improve the quality of their products if they have a financial incentive. If they really can stand to profit by doing that. And anyway, so and then the fact that intelligence is distributed, people making their exchanges on their own in the population in a free market. It's an efficient way to use the brain power of all the people, and Soviet Union wasn't doing this.
And it's kind of it's a law of nature that it happens. Like USSR had of course a crime rate, economical crime rate. I don't talk about murders or thieves or whatever. Maybe there was that also, but the economic crime. So there was a GDP, yes, and there was this communistic system, but they estimated that like 30 to 40% there is a grey economy under it, somewhere hidden underground, and so it's a grey market, so that you can't people do their own business anyway. And that's what there was. Like when you traveled to Soviet Union, of course there was this like street vendors, but they came out of nowhere. Hey, can you change currency? And they were just private people who coming from the corridors and hey, can you change this? And hey, God, what a cold piece! I'll give that to you with half price. And so and for sure that those dollars and those rubles and whatever money, they were never reported to the state. The government never knew about them. So, but there was a quite big grey market.
So, when would you say that you were fully aware of the reality of the Soviet Union life and economy, and when would you say you ceased to be a supporter of kind of far left politics?
It was at work. I was involved a little bit with the Eastern trade, and I read the report. That was like it wasn't a super big thing, yes, but it was kind of the spark what actually then flamed up later on with me. So it was a report where there was an investigation of just a kind of global kind of poll, and people were asked basic things about economic administration, financial administration, and there was this question about which one is bigger. Usually which one is bigger, the net profit of a corporation or the paid salaries of the corporation. How much in that specific year, whatever the year is, how much the corporation is paying out salaries to its workers, everything, of course, every single one, as well bosses and lower level. So, and then what is the net profit of what the owners get? And that was like, it was a spark in for me. Like, left-wing people said that the left-wing people said that the net profit is way bigger than paid salaries, and right-wing people said that the opposite, so that the paid salaries altogether is way bigger than the net profit. So there was a strict. Somebody was wrong, because the discrepancy was so huge. And of course, I was smart enough. I think I was I graduated already, and I was. While I am an engineer, so I'm not with financial administration, but I knew the basics of financial administration, and that kind of opened my eyes. That shit, somebody is wrong and somebody is badly wrong, and it was rich who were wrong. This practically, of course, there may be exceptions, but practically every reasonable sized corporation, the paid salaries by far outweigh the net profit of the corporation. So, and the general understanding and picture of people on the left and right was totally opposite. The red people, and the more red you are, the more communist you are, the more you believe that, of course, the net profit is many times the paid salary, which is, of course, the opposite. But that kind of, because I knew it. I've seen in my work. I had seen the financial reports of companies, and small companies and big companies and average companies, and so I had the privilege to know. Yes.
I've never thought to frame the question in exactly those terms. I think that's sounds like a great poll that was done there.
It was just, I just hit the ball and duh. And I think it's a pretty profound piece of information, that you have a realistic understanding of corporate economy, corporate financials. Because if you have a wrong, of course it affects your opinions. So that the people who own the corporations, they are so bad that they make billions, and they pay only a trickle to their workers. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not true.
All right, Dad.
I'm just. But anyway.
I'm getting mindful of the time here.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right, let's wrap this up here, and we will be back in the next episode. All right.
Yeah.
It's good talking to you, Dad.
It was good talking to you. Of course, it went kind of deep into. But anyway.
I think it was great.
I think it's just things will happen.
Yeah, we know so much now that we didn't before, and that's beautiful.
Of course, and then of course the 1991 was the key point when 1989 the German Iron Curtain, the German Wall fell down, and of course then
let's wrap that.
Yeah, but that's it, and then of course everything changed.
All right, but we'll get into that in a later episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening.